Welcome to Simply the Worst. This is the first episode. Thank you for joining us. My name is Burke.
And I'm Connor.
Connor, would you like to explain what it is that we're trying to accomplish here?
Yeah, I would love to. So there are far too many playlists that are just like, these are the best songs and blah blah blah. And I remember coming across one, and I talked about it with my family for a little bit. Actually, we're all like having some beers in Burlington, Vermont. Some great breweries there, by the way. Um, and we we're talking about like a playlist that was like, oh, it's like, okay, so it's kind of like a battle royale for the songs for each artist. So it's a whole playlist, but each artist gets added only one time, and it's only their objectively best song gets added to that playlist. So, if it's say, I don't know, Tears for Fears, it's probably Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Because even though Shout's a great song, and so is Mad World, Everybody Wants to Rule the World is like objectively their best song for sure. But that got me thinking, okay, Burke, we like to kick ourselves in the teeth. We play lasso campaigns. We it hard. All right, we like it really, really hard and really rough too, honestly.
We like to get hurt.
And we love getting kicked in the teeth. And so I I had an idea. I was like, okay, well, what if, all right, if there's a bunch of like the best, simply the best, there needs to be a simply the worst, because you can't have one without the other. So our mission here is to pick um you know objectively the worst song of every artist. So you're going to have terrible artists and you're going to have good artists, which means you're going to truly have like a Russian roulette playlist, because Led Zeppelin's worst song is certainly going to be miles better than uh I guess, to follow the theme of the episode, Imagine Dragons' worst song, which is bad, by the way. Spoiler alert for anyone.
I would like to point out that you said the objective worst song. And I'd like to take a moment to say that yeah, it is objective. Our opinion is truth, and if you disagree with us, go jump in a bed of
Find
nails.
another podcast.
Yeah, go to hell. Go kick
make
rocks.
make your own. Honestly, it's 2024. Make your own
Come on.
podcast
Come
about it.
on.
And we'll do a collab.
Yeah.
Hit me up.
Follow for follow.
Follow for follow.
Anyways, we are going to be talking about the Las Vegas. Bet. Talking about the Las Vegas band Imagine Dragons. Last week, Connor and I did a little bit of homework, and we listened to their entire discography a couple of times and took some notes
Yep.
on the songs that we disliked. I included some songs that stood out to me, either them being good or them being bad, just things that really popped out amongst the rest of the catalog. And I have about three pages of notes right here, so we're gonna
I have two, but they're very scribbled to hell.
yeah, we're just gonna look at it. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna discuss the entire discography of Imagine Dragons, and we're gonna figure out what all the bad songs are, and evidently what their worst song is.
We'll rank them. I mean, I literally did a bracket to figure it out. Like, I this was no joke. This was kind of a slog. Like, look, Imagine Dragons, I can get behind it sometimes. Like, Radioactive, I can get behind it. I I don't even Demons, sure. Sure. If I'm in that vibe of like, it's you know, the 20 teens and I'm an edgy middle schooler, and like, you know, song comes on off of Night Visions, right? Like, yeah, all right, cool. I'll listen to it. And I'll probably vibe with it. And you know what? Hot take. I actually don't think Thunder's that bad.
Go to hell.
I I don't think Thunder's that bad. It's on my bracket for
Well,
sure, and it had the one seed, but I sometimes I'm like, Thunder. It slaps. It slaps for me.
We'll get into that later. But the way that
Yeah.
we're gonna do this is we're gonna go album by album. We're not gonna specifically talk about every single song or get too deep in every single song. Just kind of mainly the stuff we wrote down. Uh,
Yep.
but yeah, we're starting off at the beginning with their first studio album released in 2012. Holy fucking shit, we were in 6th grade. Night Visions.
2012. My God,
Um,
we were in sixth
yeah,
grade, weren't we?
I
Yeah.
not much needs to be said about Radioactive. It's fucking Radioactive. I do remember though when Radioactive first came out, listening to it in the car with my dad, and he said something along the lines of, this would be a really good video game or like a movie trailer song." And then like a year later, what was that one show that also tried to be a video game? It was on like Sci-Fi. I'm blanking on the name of it, but they used Radioactive for the trailer, uh, for the video game trailer. I that's all. That's all.
I I don't remember. I don't remember that at all. I just remember because I mean I know like I had that big move to Philly, so I was like just adjusting,
Mm-hmm.
and so like I that whole time period like I'm when I think back to like what music was on the radio, it was like it was Radioactive, it was Demons, um, It's Time, and then also having like Pumped Up Kicks and Helena Beat, and you had your MGMTs in there, Time to Pretend, and so you had this really cool alternative indie like wave of music that came out, which by the way is having a resurgence right now.
Yeah.
Empire of the Sun just dropped a single.
Oh,
Like,
really?
oh yeah, they dropped a single. I didn't even know they were still like making music, honestly. Like I forgot about them. But MGMT dropped an
It was a
album.
pretty good one.
One of those other artists also just released something too, and I was like, what? But yeah, no, when I think about like songs like Radioactive, like boom, yeah, I'm right there. I'm sitting in like my mom's Subaru Outback driving through Philadelphia. Like I'm there, man.
It
Going to
really
Acme. Wawa.
it really is like a almost. I mean, music. You've probably seen some bullshit Tumblr post, fucking screenshot, and put on Instagram about it. But like, music really teleports you to a place and time, and
It does.
Radioactive feels like 2012.
It does. And like it's very nostalgic, honestly. And that's not a time that I was really nostalgic about in general, but like I feel nostalgia listening to these songs.
Yeah,
But we're not here to talk about those songs because those songs are good.
yeah.
Now, a couple rules for our judgments here. We're not going to we're not going to include transition songs, and that'll become important when we start getting into like you know
Albums with transition songs.
artists. Yeah, exactly. And some, although I think sub segment we should totally rank transition songs because there are some really good ones and there are some really bad ones. Um, but anyways, we're no transition songs, intro songs, conclusion songs. If it's not like an actual song, we're not really counting it. I don't know about you, Burke, but I certainly didn't listen to singles because I feel like singles are usually just released on albums later. So I didn't listen to any
Oh yeah,
singles,
I only
mostly just
listen to
album
the
work.
albums because the singles will be. I mean, like unless it was like a one-off single, like I think
Right.
like every single single they made ended up on the forthcoming album.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, so just letting it go forward. Like if some of you are like, what Cicero summon ability is just a baby crying to ionic fucking electric noises in the background from Tool. Thanks, Tool fans. Um, yeah, I'm not counting that because obviously that's terrible. No one wants to listen to that. That's a terrible song. However, as a transition song, it still sucks. I still don't like it, but I just don't like kids
Yeah, we
in
fucking
general.
hate
So,
Tool in this house.
well, I like Tool, but
Yeah, I'm fine with
neither
Tool
here nor
too.
there. I'd like to see him live. I haven't seen him live yet.
Yeah. Quick little. I mean, like overall, I have a note written down about Night Visions as a whole before we get into the worst song.
Sure.
The note that I have for Night Visions is bass kick. Radioactive is actually a great example for this because. And then this is gonna
Yeah.
go forward with a lot of Imagine Dragons music, and it kind of fucking grates my gears, and it gets really old after a while. But
Mhm.
it's just boom, gah, boom, gah, on the drums on every single song. It reminds me
Yeah.
of like around the same time that this came out with of Monsters and Men, and they're just stomp, clap, and like it just
Yeah.
gets really grating when you're listening to like probably a good solid 5 fucking hours of music, and half the songs are this.
Oh yeah.
I totally kind of forgot upon my first re-listen of this album, how much of a death grip fucking Imagine Dragons had just around the cock of the music industry. With Radioactive, It's Time, Demons, and On Top of the World. I forgot that these were all in
Oh
the
yeah,
same
I forgot
album.
about On Top of the World.
Uh,
Yeah, dude, 2012 was like their year,
it really
honestly.
was.
And then it kind of bled into like 2013, 2014 because people were trying to catch up and like you just couldn't compete with those songs. Like they were so cemented in what was otherwise I feel like a pretty bland in the moment. Looking back,
Yeah.
I think it was not very bland at all. But like in the moment it felt like a very bland, like I mean cuz you had like uh I feel like Group Love was in there and the Chainsmokers and just like Godier was in there, and I mean we know that Godier dropped a banger song, but
And
nobody
then
knows
dipped.
literally anything else about them.
He's apparently big in Sweden, I
Um,
think.
is he? Oh, that you know what? That would make
Yeah.
sense. That would make sense. Yeah. No, anyways, but yeah, Imagine Dragons had like a huge. Oh yeah, I mean, even just listening to On Top of the World right now is like, yeah, I totally forgot that this song existed, and it's totally going in, like, unironically going in a playlist, like for that like 20 teens kind of music era.
Fucking Target
Like,
commercial ass song.
yeah, I feel like I'm shopping at Target listening to this, and that's not like a bad thing. I always have a good time at Target.
I
Like,
think everyone does.
I'm
Target's
never
great.
having a terrible time at Target.
I refuse to ever shop at Target for like little things like groceries because I know I'm gonna
Coward.
walk out with like 3 pairs of shirts, a new
Oh
Xbox,
yeah.
uh,
Oh yeah. I'm
s-
gonna have some sticky notes I didn't
yeah,
need.
yeah, a pack of like mechanical pencils, even though I haven't touched a
Picture
pencil in like
frames.
4 years. It's a fucking
Some
trap.
and a 12 case of Baja
And in
Blast.
the background, all you hear is "I'm on top of the world." Hey, but yes,
Yeah.
that's my notes on the album. I guess we can just start by talking about. Well, we'll have you go first, and I'll bounce off you. What did you write down as the bad songs on
All
Night
right.
Visions?
So for this album, and I feel like at the end I'm gonna have to like explain my whole bracket here, but we'll go down my list first. First things first. No pun intended.
First things first.
um. So number one, I the top half of this album for me, it does it for me. It really does it
Yeah,
for
no,
me.
I think I agree.
It's really well structured. I love the way that it transitions. Like each song transitions into another. It's not like super thought out, but like it's definitely like okay, yeah, it's got like a little bit of flow to it, and I kind of dig it. And then they hit you with Bleeding Out, and I don't know where this came from, but it feels very like what is happening here.
See,
Um, was this
that's
on your list also? Like,
well,
was this like,
I
am I
know
crazy?
this was so I this isn't like one of my hated songs. I kind of like the chorus, and like the build up to it. The thing that I wrote down about this song though is it has those really fucking awful, annoying Imagine Dragon drums that I was just bitching about. And that's like my notes on like half these songs,
Yeah,
by the way. Um,
yeah.
I like the chorus. I like when he's screaming and shit. You know, I don't love
Uh,
the song. If the drums were different or maybe just did something, I might enjoy it more. I don't think I hate it as much as you do.
I, and you know what? This didn't make it very far on my bracket. On it. Well, no, that. All right, that's a lie. But we'll get into that. So with Bleeding Out for me, okay, it's it's basic compared to the rest of the album. Like okay, so you get introduced with Radioactive, and you're like, oh shit, okay, we're getting weird dubstep vibes in here, And then you get like to It's Time, and you're like, oh, they can kind of kick it too. Like, all right, word. And you get to Demons, and you're like, oh man, all right, this is like Bastille shit. Cool, word. They got a great range. I love this. And then On Top of the World, and you're shopping at Target with, I don't know, like a Slurpee or something from the
The
Papa
icy and some
John's they have in the
popcorn.
front, and it's like, dude, I love this. This is fucking fantastic. And then you have Amsterdam, Hear Me every night, and you're like, okay, all right, not they're not all gonna be winners, sure. And then you get to Bleeding Out, and it's just like kind of a disappointment because it's so basic and because it's so like, I don't know. I didn't. His vocals. All right, can we talk about Dan Reynolds real quick?
Yeah. Oh, I actually have some interesting music nerd shit to put onto this on the topic of the vocals
Mhm.
regarding this album and the next. But I'll let you talk first, then I'll get all
Sure.
scientific about it.
Okay. All right. So these vocals. All right. He has this. So he has like a pretty gritty voice, right? He has a very like it's kind of sandpapery. It's very pleasant too. Like he has a really great voice, and I think this is going to be my vibe for most of these songs. Is they Each musician in Imagine Dragons is so talented, so talented, and like instead of being like, hey guys, we're all pretty talented, let's make some banging music, they go, in what ways can we just throw ourselves at a wall
No, I totally
and
agree.
and make literally anything and have it be good. And that goes back to like me saying like a lot of these, like all of their good songs fucking work. Like they're so good. Not like banger good, but they're like, oh man, like I remember this song, like I love this song. This is like, I'm not gonna skip this song on the radio, you
Hmm.
know. But they have so many other songs that are just like, what? There's no did you guys even talk to? Like, were you in the same studio recording? Like, what is happening?
It
And Underdog, or sorry, I'll get to Underdog in a second, but Bleeding Out is one of those songs for me at least. And like when he's belting, like he has good belting songs for sure, he does. But with the way his voice is and the notes he's trying to hit, and like he's trying to do this thing, and it comes off as like coarse and kind of like vaguely annoying for me. And like I think that's literally like, because the only songs that I have on this album that I thought weren't that great were Bleeding Out and Underdog. Underdog, I feel like, was more just me kind of like being like, I think at that point I was already cooked. Like I was already cooked by Imagine. And it wasn't even like a bad thing. But with Underdog, you also have like the weird like 8-bit like Adventure Time
the annoying
music.
fucking beep beep dee doo.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean it suits that time period because I think Adventure Time started coming out around that time too. So you have this weird like, oh, it's like retro but future at the same time. But in music, I feel like it's just disorienting, and that's why I added Underdog onto this list. But those are the only two songs on Night Visions that I had at all, which is
So
pretty impressive.
I have one extra one about. I mean, I have Bleeding Out. I just said my words about Bleeding Out. Underdog. My issue is, I mean, a, it sounds like nothing fucking else on the album.
Yeah.
Um, and then B, I mean, this synth thing is so annoying. You have this awful like Roland 808 shitty clap drum beat, and it doesn't
Yeah, oh my
change.
god, it is 808, isn't it?
Um,
Oh my god.
yeah. It's just that this drum beat and the synth that plays over and over again, and then what's his name? Dan Reynolds.
Yeah, Dan
Dan
Reynolds.
Reynolds.
I
His
think I think.
Oh god, wow! I'm gonna look like a fucking asshole if I don't double check this real quick.
Yeah, I would double check cuz
Um,
I'm like
okay,
90%
yeah, it's Dan
sure
Reynolds.
it's Dan Reynolds. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And
it's
again, also like he seems like a decent dude. Like he like obviously has some some trauma with like bullying, and I listen, hey, I seems like a great guy. He has a great voice, but like what what is happening?
um, but fucking yeah, it just his voice mixed with the annoying like clap drum and that happens during the chorus and the normal drum beat that happens throughout and this fucking synth. I mean, it stands out like a sore thumb, kind of like bleeding out across the entire album. Um, I shouldn't. This one is pretty. It just fucking shot me in the face when it played the first time, and it's annoying. And I hate this clap. I hate the fucking claps so much.
The
The
claps.
claps.
Not a big clap guy.
It's such I don't know, it's lazy. It's top 40 pop, and there's nothing wrong with top 40 pop, and there's nothing wrong with claps, but it's just when I listen to the shit over and over again from the same fucking artist, it just gets a
Yeah.
little annoying.
Yeah.
It gets a little frustrating.
I mean, yeah, like it's I'm picking up what you're putting down. I think we're on the same page about that.
But going off what I was saying kind of originally. So I guess it's not an issue with his voice per se, it's an issue with the mix. He has a fucking fantastic voice, like what you're saying. I like his grisly, grainy, sandpapery voice. But this is an issue across the first two albums. Is both of the first two albums, Billy Corgan compress the shit out of his voice. What I mean by that is if you've ever listened to for the audience, the first three Smashing Pumpkins albums, just listen to Billy Corgan's voice, and it kind of it sounds a little off, and that's because a technique called compression is applied to his voice, and not like a normal amount. No, we're talking like a ridiculous amount of compression. And what that does is pretty much if you like look at a wavelength of you record something like the wavelength of audio, compression will raise the volume of the lower peaks and lower the higher peaks, and it kind of effectively crushes the audio. If you a good pseudo comparison would be like listening to old video game music, or when people remaster like 8 bits or 16-bit SNES music. You can kind of hear how crushed. I mean, that's bit crushing. That's a different technique, but it's kind of similar. It's what Billy Corgan sounds like. What Dan Reynolds sounds like on this album is the vocals sound really crushed. There's not a lot of dynamic range, and you can really hear that on songs like Bleeding Out when he's screaming. It feels like that scream. There should be more to it. It feels flat. It feels like the rest of everything else that he's saying when that scream should feel louder. It should feel like a scream.
It should feel more raw.
It should feel impactful and raw.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
And that
I mean, look at Miley Cyrus. Like she has fantastically raw like belting, and she has a pretty gritty voice too. Like, and I don't know. Like, just go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just they went overboard on the compression. And it's an issue that got fixed on their third and fourth album, especially the fourth album. The fourth album, I think, is probably. Well, we'll get into it later about the nitty gritty, but the fourth album is Dan Reynolds' best performance vocally, at least in the studio, in the mix.
Which one's the fourth album?
It's the Mercury Acts 1 and 2.
Oh God.
All
right.
And another issue again with these first two albums is it's soaked in reverb. Reverb kind of being not necessarily an echo, but the sound of a room. But it's kind of like an echo, but it's not an echo. I don't know. If you go into a cave, you could scream echo and hear it go around. You're not focusing on the actual echo itself, but you're focusing on like the sound, how big your voice sounds. I fucking graduated doing this shit, and I can't explain it.
Yeah.
But regardless, the reverb's like the sound of the room. Like there's like a decay to your voice and how long that will trail on out. This album has so much fucking reverb all over the place, which I also think might be part of the reason why there's so much compression on his voice. Ooh, another high end. Fuck it, we're gonna keep going on the mix rant real quick until I finish off with this album.
Hell yeah.
The low ends are loud as fuck. The high ends are loud as fuck, and there's nothing in the middle. I've listened to the first three albums 3 times. Once through just like AirPods, another one just through like my Xbox speakers. Like I have like a little shitty surround sound system. It's not shitty. It's actually pretty okay, but surround sound system attached to my Xbox. And then another time through my studio monitors, and and also my car.
Oh yeah, I mean, and the car is like the best judge. Like,
I think the car's like.
I have my headphones that I take to the gym.
Yeah,
and they're pretty good. They're Raycons. Please sponsor us. But no, I have just like the fitness headphones, and like the sound quality on there is pretty banging. Honestly, pretty like But yeah, no, I totally agree with what you're saying. Like the highs are high and the lows are low, and like there's literally no middle ground. Like, there's no and yet like I feel like a lot of, like some of the songs like they have like I think the reason it works for songs like Demons and Radioactive and stuff are because you have these like choral tame like like chorus sections that almost the dynamic of the music kind of changes and creates that middle ground
It's almost like
while being disorientingly low and high, right?
at least in, I mean, I could be talking to my fucking ass, but like in the studio with how compressed Dan's voice was, they needed stuff to fill up the space that was kind of left behind. And
Yeah.
it really feels like Dan's voice kind of sticks around that like lower middle area. So they crank the highs just to have some sort of like sonic evenness, and then they just raise the fucking bass because it's 2012 and we want to hear.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Um,
2012 is a very a
it's just
very
clean. um,
yeah.
the last thing I have to really say about this album before I at least pick a worst song off this album is
Mhm.
Nothing Left to Say / Rocks. I think Nothing Left to Say is fucking amazing. It's almost very like early Coldplay-esque. It's big, it's open, it's kind of like the antithesis of what I was bitching about 5 seconds ago. It's huge. You got some horns, you got some harmonies, and you got some drums that aren't like completely awful, and you can actually hear the guitar
They're
for once.
creative drums, yeah.
When Nothing Left to Say is done with that awesome big chanty ending, it goes into Rocks and it kills the entire vibe and it ruins the entire fucking song for me. Rocks should have been either its own song or just completely omitted from Nothing Left to Say. That's all. I really
Yeah.
other than that, it's frustrating. It's probably my favorite and my favorite song on the album until we get to Rocks.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I mean, I don't know if it's my favorite song on the album until we get to Rocks because I'm not a massive nerd, but like I it's good. Like this is one of the songs where I was like I was listen so my first listen through of Night Visions was for my brew day, and um I remember like getting this song and I just like zoned out. Like I was just like in the zone just vibing out to this
Yeah.
song. Like it felt very good, and then like Rocks came on and I literally thought it was a completely different
Yeah.
song.
No, same
And
fucking
I was
song.
like, "Oh, we're so back. Imagine Dragons, we're so back."
Um
Um
I also have, I mean, I have a deluxe track down, but I think that's unfair to count the deluxe track. So I'm just going to skip that.
No, no, go ahead,
No.
because I've been listening to the deluxe tracks. So these bonus tracks, let's talk about them.
Yes. I have a quick little speed run. Currently, we're listening to Round and Round. My main issue with this, again, it's mainly mix wise. You got the loud ass fucking going on. These hi hats in the background, it's so fucking loud. It's so fucking loud, and it's constant throughout the entire song. That's all I
Yep.
really gotta say about it. Every other
Mhm.
issue I have is on par mix wise. I don't like hate the fucking song. I just hate what it sounds like.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
My next one is the River.
Yep. I had this one too,
Ugh,
but I took it off. I took it off. I did take this one off.
yeah, I just hate this
Eh,
guitar lick. Again,
yeah.
it just keeps it goes on and on throughout the entire song, and I believe when we get to the chorus, yeah, it's just it it's just another thing of that high end just really kind of sticking out, and it's really loud compared to everything else. The drums are kind of quiet on this song
Hmm.
compared to the rest.
It has the adventure of a lifetime
It does. It
kind
sounds
of
so
thing
much
to
like
it.
Adventure of a
And
Lifetime.
I love that song, but this is like I see what you're saying. I took this one off because I recognized the motif of the river, and of those few songs that have something to do with the river, this this particular song is actually kind of the best of those songs, I think.
I don't know. Just because I recognize the river motif doesn't mean I want to go swimming in it.
No, fair. Yeah, I mean, hey, if it's not a lazy river, I don't want to be in
uh,
it. Don't put me in there.
the other one I have written down is America. I believe the chorus of this really pissed me off. Oh yeah, you have like
Yep.
the chug 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 of like some like muted guitars, and it's all fine. It's kind of quiet, but whatever. Oh yeah, it's
Yep.
like it could be a
Oh
synth
yeah.
maybe instead of the guitar, but like the beat 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 is really fucking again. It's just another thing where it's just like really loud and like unsettling how noticeably loud it is compared to everything else. And I mean, even when I shut up, I can barely hear like the like just palm muted or not palm muted, like left hand muted guitars. It's
Yep. Yeah,
I don't know,
definitely.
and that's I don't know if you have anything else to say about this album, but my critique is the boom
No,
clap no mix.
I mean, again, Rounder, I think what you said kind of covered my concerns for this album for the deluxe songs. I Bleeding Out and Underdog really kind of, they're the only two from this album that I was really truly like, oh, these are like actively terrible. And that was before I even like got to like 90% of like Imagine Dragons. Like so yeah, I'm good with closing this album out. I think overall I kind of liked the album. I thought it was fine. I
Yeah,
wouldn't really like ever seek it out, but if the songs come on like on the radio, I'm not going to skip them. Like I'll feel good about them, you
I
know?
agree. I feel like it's just a very comforting album. I have a
Yeah.
lot of issues with it, but you know, I would like listen to this on a road trip if I was driving
Oh, for sure. For
fucking
sure.
back to Colorado from
Through
Arizona. I'd throw on
through
this
Las
album.
Vegas. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Shout out
I
Dan Reynolds.
do we
Las
want to
Vegas.
say underdog? I had a pen. I was gonna write this down, and I don't know where the fucking pen went.
For what the
Um,
worst song on the album is.
I'm gonna say underdog personally.
On my bracket, Underdog beat out Bleeding Out.
Okay, sweet, sweet. All right, well, we're gonna finish. We're just gonna go into Smoke and Mirrors. Their
Okay,
2014 follow up to fucking Night Visions.
may I? Do you mind if
Go ahead.
I also kick this one off? Um, I hated this album. I thought this was terrible. I I was struggling to get through this album. Um, I think I have. Okay, so let's count here. Okay, because there's some bangers. You have the Imagine Dragons like Anomaly bangers, right? Smoke and Mirrors, really good song. I love that song. Um, Anything else on this album? Kind of not good, including Friction. Friction was on my bracket. I know that might be unpopular. I feel like a lot of people do like Friction. I personally just did not care for it. I thought it was
I-
just too disorienting for me. So I'll go down my list, right?
okay,
So you open up the album with Shot. The chorus was just annoying for me. Like anytime you have to be like you have that like American folk kind of like no shot like I don't care. Just like be more creative. I don't know. Like I just it's not for me. It's not in my taste. Um, the music in the background is fine. I don't like the like the crescendo, right? Like bleeding into the chorus, and then the lyrics of like the thing, right? If I pull up the lyrics here on Spotify real quick, um, like you have this repetition that's just like what are we doing, guys? Like
it's lazy.
it's lazy. And then I shot a hole through everything I loved. Oh, I shot a hole through everything. Like I not for me. Not for me. I thought it was like vaguely annoying, uninteresting, terrible. Like compared to like Radioactive opening up the last album. uh, yeah, no. Shot is terrible in comparison. And then you follow that song up with Gold.
Let me before you say anything about it,
Get a little refresher.
the note
Hmm.
that I wrote down for I'm not gonna say his name, so I'm gonna fucking I'm gonna give it a nickname, but you should understand the nickname. The note I
I
wrote
already
is
know who you're talking about.
salamander ass edge.
The one slur.
No.
The one slur.
It's just so fucking edgy.
Oh my god. And it's like, okay, I see what you're doing. I like you're taking like the King Midas kind of thing, and like I cool. Cool concept, potentially. But then you give it like this dubstep overlay kind of, and then you give it the basic Imagine Dragons drum beat, and then with the gritty vocals, and then you have like the chorus in the background, like ooh, ooh, like it's haunting, and oh my god, and the whistling is like the worst part for me, honestly. I can't, I I am a sucker for like whistling and harmonicas and like in pumped up kicks, the whistling in there, beautiful, beautiful. It honestly makes the song for me. But for gold, it's just like this song sucks, man. It's not. That's all I really got. I just don't like it. Like it's just I don't. I can't. I can't with it. Um, and then you get Smoke and Mirrors, which is
I didn't have anything that I wrote
actually
down
a
about smoke and
very
mirrors.
good
Yeah,
song.
I fuck
I
with smoke and
very much
mirrors.
like Smoke and Mirrors. I like it's. I feel like, I mean, looking at like the Spotify plays, it has like literally half the plays that Gold does. Like, what's up with that, guys? Why are we not listening to Smoke and Mirrors? Slept on song.
For whatever reason, it reminds me. I don't know if you've heard it, but I know it was kind of everywhere for a second around the same time, maybe 2012. But Magna Carta, Holy Grail by Jay-Z. This chorus and this beat sounds like
Mm-hmm.
Justin Timberlake on that song.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I like Smoke and Mirrors.
And you know what? And the crescendo in Smoke and Mirrors, sick. Where you go like you get the do 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 like Phil Collins almost, where it's
Yeah.
like do 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 do, and then it like breaks down like, and it's like very explosive, and like I Smoke and Mirrors top tier, not on this list. I'm So Sorry, however, is on this list, and you should be sorry because I like it, it's giving like Kid Rock almost, or like a monster truck guy.
See that's fucking hilarious because you know what I wrote down?
What'd you write down?
I wrote down Ford F-150 commercial.
Oh no, totally. This is a Ford F-150 commercial for sure. For sure. That's what's happening here.
The F-150 outperforms every other
Night,
truck with best in its
Night
class
Visions is
available towing
sponsored
and
by
payload.
Target.
Ask
And
yourself,
Smoke and
do you want a
Mirrors.
truck or a Ford truck?
800 tons of torque.
37% APR with $1 down.
Oh god. Yeah, it's giving truck driver, I hang the like metal balls on my truck and have vaguely vaguely racist things on the
You
on the
totally
back
know
window.
they had they have a sticker and it's the Punisher skull, but with the Blue Lives Matter like
Yeah,
embedded
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
into it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you know it. This song, don't like it. It's just not
Yeah,
good. Then you have Friction. I'm just gonna skip over I Bet My Life and Polaroid. I feel like they're
I didn't
unmemorable,
have
but they're
anything to
also
write on
not
them.
like, they're not bad. They're fine. Friction. I just Here's my thing with Friction. I I like I like the idea of it. Okay. I like the idea of like the sitar they have going on, where they
Mm-hmm.
have this like kind of Middle Eastern kind of sound to it, where it's like, oh shit, all right, word, and it's like got a groove to it. Like it's, I mean, dude is like killing that thing for the whole song. Um, Everything else does just like not really work with it, and it like again, it just kind of like has that same vocal thing where it's like he's not like he's so compressed that like like I feel like he needs to be like raw in this song where he's like
Yeah.
can't fight the friction. Like
Well,
you gotta like get in there, you know, and he's just not in there. He's like in the he's in the Thunder reference nosebleeds. He's just kind of shouting at the stage like it's I don't know. Not a
I
good song for me.
I was taken by surprise when I heard Friction for the first time because I don't know if it's a good song, but it's a very surprising and unique and experimental Imagine Dragons song. And
Yeah.
I've always liked more experimental music. I always enjoy when an artist does something that's a
Yeah.
little bit weird or outside of their zone, whether it works or not. So I don't
Yeah.
hate I don't hate Friction, but I don't love it either. I
Hmm.
don't think I'm ever gonna be like, hey Connor, you wanna go listen to Friction? No.
Yeah, no. I would never do that. Would
In
never
fact,
but I I agree with you. Like I think looking back on my tier list, this probably shouldn't, or not tier list, bracket. This shouldn't have been on there. Uh, it's fine, but uh, I don't know. It's just something about the discombobulation of having this like wicked sitar thing where you're like, this is something that I have not heard in like this kind of music before. Like this is sick. I I dig this so much. And then you kind of combine it with like just mediocrity, and it's like, all right, I guess so.
yeah.
Um, and then I might have just stopped listening to the album because the only other song I have on here is "Hopeless Opus." Uh, and again, that song for me is just like kind of just bad.
The last
I don't even think it made it that far in this tier list, but it's fine. Wait,
the
did I?
only
Oh yeah, I did.
the only thing I have written down really outside of like past Friction is The Fall, and my notes are just holy reverb.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. My notes for the entire album are big yet small. And that's kind of what it feels like. The album
yeah,
just sonically it feels so big and yet it's so fucking small at the same time.
yeah, yeah. I think my notes on this album were, and I shit you not, all of the notes that I have for this album are "it's fine." Period.
Yeah, it's
Like
I
it's
I don't hate Smoke and Mirrors either. I feel like they almost try to kind of ease into a bit more of that like soft rock Coldplay One Republic sound that they kind of bounced around with in the first album, but it never really
yeah.
lands either. Again, I'm never gonna fucking listen to this album out of my own merit unless I want to kill myself,
No.
but
Is it just me or does the album art kind of even give Coldplay? Because all of
it
the
does
other
give
album arts
Coldplay.
have that little boy on there, and I'm assuming that little boy is supposed to be Dan Reynolds, but I
Oh
don't
shit, you're right.
know.
I've never made that connection
I don't know
before.
Imagine Dragons lore, but this is the only album that doesn't have the little boy on it.
You don't get it. He's
I mean,
just
it
a
has
little
hands and a
boy.
bird.
He's so nervous.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's fine. This album's fine,
I,
but
I'm.
it's nothing compared to what we're about to get into because
I,
it's literally only downhill from here.
I say Gold's the worst.
I would say Gold is the worst because simply because of the one slur, and and because of that, I think I put it up against a significantly worse song, and it lost immediately, like in my bracket. Like it immediately was like redeemed because like it's really not a terrible song. I think it's just my connotation with it that makes it bad.
Yeah, I mean, even
If
without the
that makes
connotation, I
sense.
still think it's a shitty fucking song.
I mean, yeah, it's terrible, but
Everything,
it's like
everything.
it's not the worst. And my whole like theme for this whole playthrough was like, I mean, I was convinced that there needed to be a worse song than Thunder because Thunder's like notoriously their worst song. But I knew that there had to be one song that was worse than Thunder, and we'll get to that song. But now we need to talk about Evolve.
It's their
I have
2017 album.
I have mixed feelings about this album actually.
I agree.
Because it's just like Imagine Dragons, all over the place, and very occasionally you get something nice,
This is another
but
one that
most of
kind
the
of
time
just.
it's just kind of garbage.
This is another one that really just fucking like took over the radio for a solid like year.
Mm-hmm,
Like I
mm-hmm.
mean like I did not know every single song off of Night Visions. I
Yeah.
knew I knew of every single song off Evolve before I
Oh yeah.
listened to the album in full for the first time like a week ago. Every single song I knew.
Yep.
Um
Yep.
Next to me the first song, I kind of like it. It's cute, it's nice.
It's kind of like dancey. Like it's almost like I
Yeah,
feel like
it's like a first
I'm
dance
like
kind of
two
dance.
stepping. You know? Yeah. It feels very like prom for me.
Yeah. Um
But if they play this at your prom, someone like please like contact the authorities. Like
please.
this that is murder on the dance floor.
I don't know
That's
why.
right, I said it.
Fucking where is it in the chorus? Where is it? Where's the chorus? Oh yeah, okay. So I don't know why.
Okay.
Uh
The song I don't know why. Okay, yes,
okay,
okay.
yeah.
Yes, okay.
The note that I wrote down is it's Black Skinhead by Kanye West. The do it's my
Yeah,
theme song.
yeah,
My leather
yeah,
black jeans on.
yeah.
And then I wrote Calvin. I think that's supposed to mean Calvin Harris.
I see it.
But I think I meant to say the weekend. It kind of at the very beginning kind of feels like I can't feel my face. It like just
Yeah.
the
Oh my
like
god. Oh
yeah.
my god. Yeah. Oh my god. You're so right.
I don't think I really have anything. I like
I
whatever it
mean,
takes.
we know the stinker in here.
Yeah.
We know the
Um.
stinker.
I have a very positive thing actually written down for Believer.
I like Believer.
I like Believer too. I just wrote down balanced the entire mix. Like there's nothing really standing out too much.
Yep.
I mean, and this album is when the mix kind of started to fix itself. I don't really have as many mix issues with this album or the next one
Yep.
compared to the first two. Yeah, no, I fuck with Believer. I just wrote down balanced.
I like Believer. Yeah,
Um,
I mean, all memes aside, like it is kind of a good song. Like
yeah,
I know it's on everybody's like epic gamer playlist or whatever, but like I kind of like this song. I like the way it flows. Like again, like you have this like sense of like you know flow to it that is like kind of rare because they just kind of throw shit at the wall and like very
and it's stuck.
occasionally you get a Jackson Pollock, but like not that I know that much about art and I know that he was vaguely problematic or like massively problematic. Thanks art school. But yeah, like totally. Believer is one of those ones on here that I was like, if it comes on, I'm totally gonna listen to it. I
Yeah.
fucking love this song.
Um, whatever it takes. No, wait, no, fucking. I already did whatever it takes. Oh yeah, no, walking the wire. Yeah. What?
It's
What?
fine.
My issue. Let me get to the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Clam, clap, boom, clap. It's just fucking clap,
Oh
boom, clap.
well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Well,
Um,
yeah.
fucking. What was the next one I wrote down yesterday? Oh, yesterday I wrote down AJR inspiration. This feels like some shit that would be on a fucking AJR album. It's just with the doopy little whirly like woo woo and the
Yep.
fart fucking kick drum and
Yep.
the,
Yeah.
the fucking just distorted as shit drum, the snare, did the clap. Fucking
Yeah.
no, fuck you. Mouth of the River. I wrote down as goaded. This
Yeah.
shit's a fucking banger. This shit
Disagree.
belongs.
Hard disagree.
Oh, it makes me want to take off my pants and
The mouth
dance.
of the river.
The mouth of the river. It kind of reminds me of Florence and the Machine, at least chorus wise. It just sounds like some shit she would say.
I thought this was like a transition song when I first heard it. I was like,
It's almost
"Oh,
4
the
minutes
mouth of the
long.
river." I don't know. I know it's like almost 4 minutes long, but like that's how boring it was to me. The only thing that I took from the song was the mouth of the river.
The
Like, and
mouth of
that's
the
it.
river.
That's it. And it's just that the whole time. And like, cool, get it, awesome, good, perfect. Um, You can keep going down because I really only have a few songs on this album.
Thunder. What can I say?
And
You hear
that,
that?
and that.
It's
Thunder, thunder.
awful.
See, I'm already vibing to this. I actually kind
I
of like it.
fucking hate
I'm
this
getting
song.
into it.
I hate the pitch shifts in the chorus. The chorus. It has that boom clap. It has the knowing on the offbeat that was like all over the place in the late 2010s that I fucking hate.
Yep.
An annoying ass flow. No, I hate this song. I've never fucking before I became like a pretentious asshole. I never fucking liked this song. I hate it. I hate the snap.
I kind of like it.
Oh.
Thunder, thunder, thunder. I actually don't. It's on my list as one of the worst because I know objectively it is the worst. But like I like it in the same way that I like listening to Grant McDonald, where
I
I'm
like
just
Grant
like
McDonald more.
when I'm like grinding through a work shift and something happens, uh, and I'm listening to Grant McDonald, it immediately makes it funny
I mean, yeah.
because of like our memories just listening to Ram Ranch, all of them,
Yeah, Sean.
and it's like, yeah, that's awesome, and I love that, and this is making me feel good in this moment, and that's what Thunder does for me, honestly. Is it makes me feel good in that moment. I can listen to it once and be like, that was good, I like that. If I listen to it 2 times, though, there's something wrong with me. Call the
Then the
hospital.
beast is gonna get unleashed.
And then we'll unleash the thunder.
Start over. Feels. I think I wrote down Ed Sheeran, and I don't know why. I think it's these pan
I
flutes
vibe
in the
it.
background.
I
Yeah, I
vibe
think
it.
it's. I think it's fine. It's kind of just forgettable to me.
Yeah, forgettable.
I'm just gonna skip on the
Um,
the song
Mouth of
that's
the
currently
River.
playing now, "Dancing in the Dark."
Yeah. Oh, that's on there.
Yeah, I
Oh, that's
hate
on
these
there.
vocals. It's such a boring song. These drums suck.
I'm getting
Uh
sleepy listening to it. Like I'm just like so like I it's just like and it's not even like you're open like this album has songs like Believer and though some people would disagree it has Thunder. Um it has like bangers on it. Like you got these like really powerful like kind of dancey songs where you're like, "Oh, word." You even open it up with Next to Me that feels like prom. And this is like I feel like this is what they wanted. They want to close on like a prom note, but it just kind of is giving like if prom took place in like if you had to do prom over COVID and instead of being like, "Oh, we're doing like a Zoom prom or whatever," they were like, "We put your prom into N64 Mario. You can move
you gotta jump through the
laterally."
paintings. You have to
And
go to the bathroom. Jump through the
and it's
picture.
and it's just like terrible. Like it's so boring. Like I don't know, just listening to this, I feel like the last 4 minutes of my life were like the longest 4 minutes of my life. You know, like it just like sucks.
I'd say the worst song off of Evolve is "Dancing in the Dark."
It is Dancing in the Dark for sure, like hands down.
So somewhat embarrassing. I completely missed Origins.
Oh, I did not. I'd go with the Spotify stats, and I'd probably say digital is probably the worst because it only has 35 million listens. Jesus, these guys are popular.
Yeah, you know, now that I just skipped
Yeah,
to a random middle
now that I'm
point, yeah,
hearing it,
fuck this
yeah, I
song.
do remember this one, and it's pretty bad actually.
So we'll move on to
Unmemorable
yeah,
album. The worst song is digital, but it's
yeah
not even on
fuck
my
digital.
bracket. Not even on my bracket.
Um,
That's
I
your
wrote
fans' choice if you're bitching about it.
I wrote a lot of notes about Mercury Acts 1 and 2 because so much of this
Oh
album
boy.
surprised me and so much of this album made me like viscerally angry. And also I think by the time I got to this song when I was writing notes, I was a couple beers deep because for Enemy, what I wrote down was shut the fuck up bass part.
Let me my notes for this album are I can't stand it.
I I hate Enemy. I don't
I
hate it's
I hate Enemy. It's terrible. If you think Enemy is good, you should like listen to something else. Like literally try listening to anything else because clearly you haven't heard music before. Like it's bad. However, however, if this is the song that I think it is, and I believe that it is, it has a feature and
yeah, it
that
has
feature part actually is kind of bars. It's the rapping part. Yeah, this part right here. It like this is like the rapping part is straight bars, and honestly, it saved it from my bracket. It did.
yeah, I kind of like
Oh
it
no, it
too.
didn't. It's on my bracket. But
Oh,
it,
fucking psych.
it I mean, I paired it against Dancing in the Dark, so obviously we know who wins that. Like, come on now. But yeah, Enemy sucks, but I think its saving grace is the feature because like I mean, I was listening to it actually driving down the highway and I was like, dude, this might be the worst song. This might be the worst song. And then that part come on, I was like, all right, no, it's kind of fire. It's pretty bars. And then it ended and I was sad, but um yeah. I don't know about you, but after Enemy, I have Monday.
Oh my god, my note for Monday is Madness by Muse.
Yep. I think yep, that's literally what I wrote down too. Man. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
It's like madness but adventure timeified.
yeah, it's madness, but it goes fucking nowhere.
Yep. Madness but there is no like crescendo.
We don't have to list. I mean, we don't have to skip to it, but for Lonely, 2 songs before this, my
Yeah.
note was Nobody Gets Me, and then the emoticon angry face.
Yeah. Well, that's this album, I think.
So Burke's cool. Fun fact. And this is like kind of I guess a bit of like a pseudo album like Acts 1 and 2. Act 1 is like dealing with grief, like the loss of a loved one, and Act 2 is supposed to be like rebounding from that. With that being said, it's so on the nose, and it also fucking goes nowhere with its themes. So bad concept
Sick.
album. You just fucked it all up.
Sick.
Let's what do you got? What do you got? Monday number one.
Connor's cool Burke fact too. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Um, the little boy on the Mercury album is the Silhouette, and he's ascending, but this album does not ascend,
No,
so it
it
just leaves you. Anyway, that wasn't Connor's cool
fucking that little
fact. That
boy's
was
me
just
ascending
something
to
I wanted
heaven
to
because
say.
this fucking thing put me to sleep when I was driving.
That monkey's gone to heaven.
That monkey's going to heaven.
Lonely, fine, whatever, unmemorable. Monday, terrible, didn't like it. Number one is on my list. It's terrible.
I have issues with the drums. It has a very like laid back, like kind of like R&B thing that it feels like everyone could go kind of ham on, maybe get a little bluesy, a little jazzy. Feels like it needs a saxophone doing some crazy shit over this drum beat. And
Yeah,
instead you just get 2022 high note fucking da-da.
yeah,
Although I kind of like the
yeah.
chorus. It kind of reminds me of Where's the Love by the Black Eyed Peas.
A little bit, but the lyrics are just like so uninspired, and like I feel like I don't know if it's the compression or something, but like he just it sounds like he just doesn't give a fuck.
I think he just doesn't give a fuck because this isn't nearly as compressed as, at least noticeably compressed, as the first two.
I just like uninspired, just uninspired.
I wrote down good question mark for Giants, but I think it's because he starts like screaming at one point.
Now that would make sense. There's some good screaming in this album, and there's some very atrociously bad screaming that I will get to in a second.
I think that this is probably, at least performance wise, the best that Dan has been across an album.
Yeah.
Yeah, this screams. Like, what the fuck is this? Is fucking Imagine Dragons. Like, what? And he kills it too. Like, it's surprising. It's almost kind of refreshing. I don't want to say it's good because of that, but
Oh,
it's what, when I listen to 5 hours of Imagine Dragons, it kind of feels nice to hear him kind of try something a little bit different.
yeah. I do want to say for Giants, he has the radioactive
You get the boom clap.
breathing in the chemicals.
Oh wow, we
But
were talking about
it's
two
like
different things, but you're
it's
completely
like
correct.
it's like a shortened version of it where he's like like I just thought it was funny. I just heard it just in my ear. Yeah, I think with Giants, like, yeah, he's like screaming, and I like the way that like almost breaks the microphone that he's using, and
Yeah,
it's like
it's
it's
sick.
pretty sick. Like, I kind of like that a lot. Overall, Giants unmemorable song for me, but the screaming is really cool. I like it. Um, Number one, uninspired. Oh wait, we already did that. It's okay. That one that one made it pretty deep into the tier list. I
It's
I hate
it's
this song.
okay.
It's not okay.
I,
I I hate this song.
I'm not in
This
love with it
song is
either.
so annoying. If this came on the radio, I would buy a new car. Like
Go straight to the dealership.
I
Ford
would,
F-150 truck month, 37% APR, $1 down.
yeah, I'll go back. I'll go back to smoking beers. I think I audibly scoffed when I heard this song for the first time. I think I
It's
literally was like minding my business, like zoned out because I'm coming off of Giants, and I was like, "That's unmemorable, but it's pretty good." And then all of a sudden, like, I hear like, uh, oh, and I just like, I just, this is
I
terrible.
I feel like it is the prime example of what I was saying earlier about how it's too on the nose with the concept of the album, and that kind of ruins it
Yes.
for me. There's no subtlety to it. Like, yeah, this right here it's what the concept of the first half is, like recovering from something traumatic, losing a loved one. Of course,
Yep.
it's near the end point of the first disc. You're going to say it's okay to be okay because thematically, it's what makes sense. But it's so
Mm-hmm.
fucking on the nose, and it's kind of unbearable.
Dull Knives, unmemorable.
This one actually stood out to
Again,
me
good
because
vocals. Good vocals.
it. So this one stood out to me, not just because of the vocal, because again, it's like, what the fuck? This is Imagine. Have you ever seen that picture? Oh, you sent it to me of Dan Reynolds shirtless, and it was like, what kind of song would he need to be shirtless?
This one probably.
This one, yeah, no. So I wrote down Creep because it doesn't have the exact same chord progression as Creep, but it has a very similar chord progression to Creep by Radiohead.
Mm-hmm.
And then his yelling. In the context of the album, I like this one a lot, but I also still don't think it's a great song.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy the juxtaposition. Your quieter moments, your moments where you're screaming.
Yeah, I think for me, like, here's my problem with long hauls like this, right? Is by the time I get to this album, I'm probably drunk, and like I'm like I mean, I'm being honest. Like, by the time I get here, if it's unmemorable, it's actually probably a really good song, and like the fact that I don't remember it is probably because I'm looking for bad songs, and it's actually not a bad song.
That's fair
So
enough.
I
I
will
went
give
into it
kudos to Dull Knives. Like, as I'm hearing it now, this is pretty cool, and it's really heavy. Like, it's actually
for
pretty
Imagine
like
Dragons, yeah,
metal. Like, I quite like that. I mean,
grungy kind of.
yeah, it's like a grungy metal. Like, it's very like, you know. Yeah, perfectly fine song. Like I quite like it. Unlike the
Um.
following two songs.
Oh, Follow You.
And boy were these ones a struggle. Um
This chorus kind of feels like, I don't know, something that the girls would sing during jump rope day in PE.
yep, they're doing their double dutch thing. So with Follow You, it just has, again, it has this like weirdly like dubsteppy but like upbeat pop, like what's that Bastille song, or is it a Bastille song that's like I want you to be happier? It's Bastille, right?
I'm not sure. I know what you're talking about.
I think that's Bastille, and like that, for that song, it has that kind of vibe to it, and like I just, whatever that is, it's already not for me. And then you put it into Imagine Dragons, and you have him where you like, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Like it has this like weird
Yeah.
dubsteppy, like weird, not good mix to it. That's just like it's just noise. It's just
See,
noise.
that's interesting because I wrote down nice and big. I mean, there's a lot of like subtleties going on in the background, like harmonies or just some like synths. Like I don't love this song, but I kind of appreciate how big and wide it feels.
So you're telling me when he's like, "Well, but I'll take you," like it's like you're saying that's like big, like it's
Well, it's not like his vocals, but it's everything else. Like the instrumentals are big, they're huge. They like sonically
the
fill up.
instrumentals are, yeah, for sure, but they're all big in different ways for me. Does that make sense? Like they're, I don't know. I mean, I might be full of shit. You're the music guy. I'm like the average Joe. All right. I have no background at all. My only background is that I'm a phenomenologist. And
Didn't
for
you play
those of you that
clarinet
know
for a
what
little
that
bit?
means, what?
Didn't never continue? Never mind.
Oh. Well, I mean, I was in band, and I kind of know music, but that was like in like a while ago. And but like I I'm a phenomenologist. So for those of you that know what that means, yes, correct. You will see where I'm coming from. Where experientially listening to these songs, I you'll see what I'm saying more than any, I would presume. But if you don't know what that means, you can Google it, and it's very difficult reading, but it's very cool. Um, but if you don't and you don't care, then I'm just an average Joe. I'm literally have no background in music other than that I listen to it a lot. So a lot of my takes are going to be, I don't vibe with Follow You. It just seems like a like generic basic la di da song. Like it's cool. All right, whatever. And I don't know if you have anything to say about it, but I would like to skip the next song specifically because, no, you know what? We'll talk about Cutthroat for a little bit.
Well, but before we go and get into Cutthroat, I find kind of like what you're saying to be a little interesting. It's like a nice little yin yang, um, because we both view music, I
Hmm.
guess, kind of differently.
Yeah,
I kind of like what you were saying. Like you listen to music, and I almost kind of like, I don't want to say overanalyze it, but I like between the two of us, like I'm a bit of an asshole when it comes to just like the nitty gritty. And
totally.
I
Yeah,
can either appreciate or fucking hate the nitty gritty, and to an extent that can almost cloud my opinion and my judgment.
yeah,
Whereas for you, it's not a bad thing. It's just a bit more of like a basic understanding of it, and that will give you a different viewpoint on
yeah,
something than it will for me. And I feel like that kind of creates like interesting discourse, kind of like what we just had with Follow You. I don't hate Follow You. You hate Follow You, and we both have our own reasonable reasons behind it.
Yeah, and I mean if we add our takes up together, like it's a fine song. I like it's fine, and I think that we should actually, now that I'm like thinking about it, maybe we should go through the, because it sounds like we have a lot of the same songs on like our lists. So I'm wondering if maybe we should just go through this bracket together, because otherwise it like my bracket's totally like my bracket and we're gonna come up with two very different answers maybe.
Yeah. Before we go on to the bracket, let me just
Correct. Yeah.
finish up
There's
the
a
bracket
couple.
that you
There's
made.
literally one more. No, two more that I want to talk about on this album.
Yeah, I mean, Cutthroat we just listened to while we were talking. I don't like it. I don't like the
I
piano
hate it.
stabs with the bass. I don't like the weird like wishy-washy mouth noises. Like, you know when you like kind of like puff open like your left cheek and kind of swish it around?
Yeah.
That's what the song sounds like.
It features a kazoo.
You too,
It
King
features
Kazoo.
a kazoo.
I'm gonna speed run real quick to one that I know that we both fucking hate. Sharks.
Yep. Sharks. Fucking sharks. Ba-da-da-da.
So my notes on
This
this
song's
are
bad.
I wrote down edgy. So many claps, not claps as in like oh, actually no, there actually are claps like the clap 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 clap. But
Yeah.
that snare kind of feels like a little clappy. And then I also wrote down why is it sexy?
It's almost like Livin' La Vida Loca, but like
yeah, that's a good way
not
to put it.
okay. It's like the anti Livin' La Vida Loca.
It's like living La Vida Loca, but the person singing it to me is one of the 90-year-olds at my serving job trying to get the happy hour Chardonnay for free.
Yeah, my favorite part of the song is the whoop whoop. Like no, hands down, this was a contender. Like
this...
I
whoop whoop. It just feels gross.
it feels really dirty. Like I don't like it. I feel like I'm being ogled.
Yeah. It's such an uncomfortable song that I'm gonna stop listening to it, and I'm just gonna. At this point, I was getting kind of tired. I could have probably like asterisked more shit songs. But,
yeah, me too. But I think at this point we unveiled the worst of the worst.
Yeah, where the fuck is Higher Ground? Boom trash snares. My note.
Yep.
Normal Imagine Dragons. It just feels. If. Oh god, yeah, this fucking snare is like Metallica Saint Anger. Jesus Christ, that sounds awful. Sounds like I'm hitting a fucking like they're hitting a trash can lid.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh dude. Yeah, it's awful. I think the rest of this album for me was like it was fine, but like each song had something where it's like, God, really?
The other one I have is Waves, because it kind of fucking confuses me. I mean, I wrote down Snap because I love those snaps. There's a point where he goes like ha di da da da, some shit like that.
Yep.
And this song I think's about a car crash. And I said it's way too happy for a car crash, and not in like a
not in like
an
an
ironic
edgy
way,
in an
or
edgy like this is like kind of like it's like when movies have like a dance scene in them now, like choreographed dance scene in like a serious movie, you know what I mean, where like you had movies that were like Ex Machina that had that weird choreographed dance scene in it, and it was like where did that come from, but it's also like the best scene in that movie. And then you have movies nowadays where it's like they just have dance scenes now, and some of them do it right, like Saltburn. That was the ending dance scene where what's his face is dancing naked through the halls. Yeah, that was a banger scene. I love that scene.
Did you ever watch the Five Nights at Freddy's movie?
No, is there a dance scene in there?
Yeah, no, there's a dance scene where
Oh.
they all come together and they say we are FNAF, and they fucking start dancing.
That's
And they make a pillow
sucks.
fort. This would be playing in the background instead of The fucking
Imagine Dragon waves Imagine Dragon
waves.
plays in the
Well,
background.
Bonnie opens her mouth and you think she's about to eat you, but actually she pukes at a pillow for the pillow fort. Oh, it's waves by Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, no, I the rest of this album is fine. It's all more of the same, but I think the big ones here are Sharks, Cutthroat, Follow You, It's Okay, Monday. I mean, I'm listing a lot of names, but there's a lot of songs in this album, I promise.
Yeah. It's a double album for those that
Yeah,
don't know.
no.
Before we get into the definitive ranking, because
Yep.
I don't love Mercury Accent 2, but I almost kind of appreciate it. Um, so I don't know if I should say her name, but my girlfriend at one point, so she used to be a volunteer at Red Rocks, and through doing that, she would get free tickets. And one of the tickets, I believe, were to see Imagine Dragons. And I mean, she was never huge on Imagine Dragons either, but free concert tickets, fuck it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Um, and I guess they put on a great show, and you know, as cringy as they are, Danny Boy kind of went on a whole talk about like what their songs are about and what's important to them, and why they do what they do, and it kind of gave her a little bit of a. It made her reconsider the band. You know, it gave a sense of appreciation because I do believe that you can appreciate or hate things more based upon the context.
Yeah.
And she still doesn't love the band, but just hearing how honest, I guess, they were and how thoughtful, and I'm just paraphrasing, and I kind of forget what she exactly told me, but like,
Right.
regardless, like, I gave her an appreciation of the band, and I almost kind of feel like that's what Mercury Acts 1 and 2 did for me. Again, I don't love the band, but kind of knowing the background of the album and what it's about, like, allowed me to recognize and acknowledge, and I'm going to say appreciate again. It made me appreciate what was going on, at least within the context of this album. I don't fucking love it, but I'm able to view it through a bit of a slightly different lens because of that and understand certain choices.
Hmm.
And it's almost kind of artistic. I don't know. Art's subjective, and that's the beauty of art.
Well, yeah.
Um, and the thing is, you know, art can still be fucking shit if it makes you think. You know,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
uh, and that's
I,
kind of how I feel about Imagine Dragons after this entire listen. Like, I again, I don't love the band, but I almost have like this weird sense of appreciation. Is
mhm.
this weird sense of like, I don't know who the fuck else has, I mean, you and me, and then maybe like the biggest fans who will then queue up AJR after this, but like sat down and fucking listened to their entire discography and like really learned Danny Boy and crew and I don't know. It's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and my girlfriend had a similar experience. She went to a concert while they were touring for Smoke and Mirrors, and so like when I was like running through and like I'd have a moment of panic in my bracket where I'm like, I truly don't know which song is worse. And she'd be like, it's obviously this one. The other song is good because that other song would be on Smoke and Mirrors, and it was like, no, I feel like they are a really good live show to see. And so if you have the opportunity, please go and take it and do it because I hear only good things about them being live. Even their like shitty songs live are apparently very good. So
I
I would 100% say like if you have an opportunity to see Imagine Dragons, go do it. I will stand by that. I haven't seen them myself, but I also like after my listen through, just like what I learned from this experience is nothing. I learned nothing from this experience. I I think I think they're I just I am and I'm exiting this experience after listening to all of their music multiple times. I'm leaving
uh
this so glad that I won't ever have to do that again. Night Vision's
so
great. Evolve fine. Anything else, whatever.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm more so happy knowing that there is a song that is much worse than Thunder, in my
And it
opinion.
also feels good to know that they have some pretty decent and good songs too when they
They
fucking
do.
try.
They do. Well, when it hits. I don't like I honestly don't even know what like formula it is for them to
Boom
like
clap.
hit. Well, boom boom clap, but like yeah, no, I certainly have some songs from here that I'm taking away, and I've pocketed them a little bit, but
if
like ultimately I learned nothing other than there there is a much deeper well of awful music than Thunder. All right, okay, my final four. My final four were Sharks, Dancing in the Dark, Cutthroat, and um and Follow, or like I whatever that song before Cutthroats is.
okay,
Follow
that's
You. Yeah.
I just started. I had my list of like my true least favorites, and I did my top five in no order really per se.
Hmm.
But I have Underdog, Dancing in the Dark, Thunder, Sharks, and Waves.
Interesting. So you don't even have Cutthroat on there.
I fucking hate Cutthroat, but
I truly could not listen to Cutthroat and not start
you know
laughing.
what? In hindsight,
Truly.
now that I'm thinking about it, I'm switching Waves with Cutthroat.
I mean, like I just in my opinion, in my non-professional opinion, Cutthroat has to be like it is like the pinnacle of like cringy. It's terrible. The beat sucks. The vocals, it sounds like he's running out of breath. Like I mean, the big chorus is like only one of us will make it out alive, but then in the same line he says and it's not you. So it's just like a like wordy, breathless, screaming. Like it just none of it works. None of it works. And then in the background you have like I don't even know if it's Dan Reynolds, but you have someone in the background being like cutthroat, like it's like the edge level peak, the cringe level peak, the discombobulation level peak. Like it's literally like they turned everything up. They threw it into a song,
Mm-hmm.
and then they did not review it and they just dropped it.
Yeah, you actually give because with Waves, I hate the lyrics and I hate like the idea of what it's trying to be, but I don't hate the actual like musicality, the instrumentals or anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm replacing Cutthroat with Waves, but I think the worst Imagine Dragons song is Dancing in the Dark.
Really. I I just I because in the end for me it came down to Sharks, Dancing in the Dark, and Cutthroat. And for me with Dancing in the Dark, like yeah, it's boring, it sucks, it's a terrible song, but like honestly I would rather listen to Dancing in the Dark than Cutthroat. Because Cutthroat is like, oh, I think it's longer. Hold on, let me see here. Cutthroat is, oh no, I guess Dancing in the Dark is like a minute longer. See, but like it doesn't feel like that. Cutthroat feels longer. Like it somehow takes slowed down time and slows it down further, and then also steps on your nuts with a bunch of like cleats. Like it's like I don't know. I don't know. And then you have Sharks that feels like I'm being like predatored. Like
What
see
is your
see it's that part right there. Like why do you need to add the and it's not you? Like it's already a threat when you say only one of us is going to make it out alive. Like it's already a threat. The and it's not you is implied. But then you go and say and it's not you. And if I'm in a situation where like we're in a gladiator ring, there's no escape, and it's me versus you, and you say only one of us is going to make it out alive and it's not you, I will actually feel more confident that it'll be me.
I mean, you gotta realize who they're marketing themselves to. They got both 30-year-old single moms who also just listen to Taylor Swift, and they got 12-year-olds.
Swifties are not listening to Imagine Dragons. What?
I don't know. Swifties might be listening to Imagine Dragons. It has that same bad... Cutthroat has the same bad bitch vibe that, like, Reputation has.
This is like they're in their demon mode playlist.
Yeah, no.
Where they
they're going
throw like
angry.
a small like liqueur shot on someone else, and then they like turn around and walk away to Cutthroat.
They're on a fucking and then it switches.
Sorry, you can cut this out, but it's the cunty Reggie Rock memes. Have you seen those?
No, but I like that.
Cunty Reggie Rock with a handbag.
No, is it like Reggie Rock like Pokemon?
Yeah. It has like fake lashes and like a weave and like really long fingernails and a handbag and like a Pomeranian. It's cunty Reggie Rock with a handbag.
I'm looking this up right now.
It's so good.
What the fuck?
They're so good, dude.
Yeah, no. Okay, so I think that's actually what Imagine Dragons, what a lot of the angry Imagine Dragons songs are.
That's what sums them up. It's cunty Reggie Rock with a handbag. It's just Imagine Dragons.
It's like you have some middle school drama going on, and then you start playing fucking like Enemy or Cold or Believer,
and like specifically Cutthroat is because Dancing in the Dark, like, yeah, okay, sure, all right. You're with a name like Dancing in the Dark, my mind immediately goes to like Bruce Springsteen, and I'm like, that's a banger song. I actually really like that song. And
yeah, Springsteen is great compared to fucking Imagine Dragons.
And so you're already
you're
setting yourself up for failure there already, and then it's just like the most boring song. Like, at least for me, Sharks and Cutthroat beat out Dancing in the Dark because at least there's something interesting for me to like say, no, that's actively a bad choice. Dancing in the Dark is like, this is just like generic and boring and terrible because it's generic and boring.
Imagine being like 90 and your Gen X like son just added you to their Spotify plan and you look up Dancing in the Dark and you click on the Coldplay song.
Honestly?
And by Coldplay song, I mean Imagine Dragons song. Fuck. Okay.
We need to focus.
Without bullshitting, just say it. Just say it right now. What is your least favorite Imagine Dragons
Cutthroat.
song?
It has to be Cutthroat. It literally is Cutthroat. And if it's not Cutthroat, it's Sharks. Because that song, I feel violated listening to that song. Like,
I'm still gonna say Dancing in the Dark.
God, oh man.
Because with Sharks and with Cutthroat, like, I can shit post that. Like, if you and I are like fucking our shit fucking kicked in on Get Fixed Boy, if we're playing Halo 2 Lasso and we're getting Jackal fucking 360 MLG quickscoped, I can listen to Cutthroat in the background and want to kill myself, but still have an enjoyable time. But if we're fucking doing that while listening to Dancing in the Dark, I'm just gonna fucking fall asleep and throw the fucking match. I don't even have anything fucking bad to like, not bad, but like Cutthroat and Sharks gives me it gives me something to talk about. I have nothing to say about Dancing in the Dark other than it's fucking boring. I can meme to Cutthroat. I can fucking shitpost Cutthroat with you. I can't do that with Dancing in the Dark. What, you want me to just go like, no.
I think of the three, it's the most shitpost worthy because we would be running through that fucking park with all those jackals. And instead of Goodbye Moon Man, we're listening to Dancing in the Dark. I mean, even the BPM is like the same in those songs. Like that for me is like, yeah, okay, I can. It's not as funny when you think about it, but when you apply, like, okay, so that's what we need to do. We need to play a whole Lasso campaign to these three songs. We need 3 Lasso campaigns for 3 songs.
We only listen to those 3 songs on Halo repeat. 1 through Halo 3 Lasso.
For like, what did it do? Took us like a fucking whole year to get through Halo 1.
Yeah. We
So a whole
never. I think we
year
got
per
up to the
song.
second arbiter level on 2, and then we gave up.
Yeah. Oh my god. No, for me, Dancing in the Dark is like it sucks in the moment, but I feel like if I listen to like 5 times in a row, I might start like vibing with it a little bit maybe. I just for me, Cutthroat is like I don't know. For me, it's
Dun dun.
for me it's Cutthroat, and I just like Dancing in the Dark. I see what you're saying, but for the terms of the playlist, I think Dancing in the Dark, I at least saw what they were going for with it. Like I at least like can listen to that song and be like, oh, so they're going for like a slow dance prom kind of song to close out the album because they opened the album
With a prom
with a
dance song
prom
that was
dance song
significantly
that was
fucking better.
significantly better. And so they were like, oh, well, we have this B reel. Let's just drop that. Oh, I didn't even fucking talk about Bones. This song also really sucks.
I just skipped over Bones because like it's Bones.
It's Bones. It's fine.
It's Bones.
It's fine. There are bigger sharks to talk about. And you know what?
They're pretty. These sharks they're pretty cutthroat, and they like to dance in the dark and the thunder with their bones.
No, take Thunder out of there. I like Thunder. Thunder's a good song.
I fucking hate Thunder.
No, all right.
I don't know how we're supposed to end an episode.
I don't know either because
we've been saying the same shit.
We need to agree. Like I truly think it's Cutthroat. I really truly deep down believe that it's Cutthroat. Dancing in the Dark, I could see it. But I know that like there's probably more people like, oh, well, let's settle it this way. Cutthroat has 60 million and Dancing in the Dark has 78 million. So America, or I guess the world, the world has decided that Cutthroat is worse. But let me check on Sharks because that might have an even lower, and then we'll be in bigger trouble.
Well, we've been stuck between Cutthroat.
It's Cutthroat. Yeah. It's Cutthroat for sure. That has like that's the tiebreaker is how many listens it has.
I have the Simply the Worst playlist. I just made it. Let me just quickly.
It's Cutthroat.
We'll agree on Cutthroat.
Okay.
Thank you everybody for coming. God fucking stop fucking stuttering. Thank you everybody for tuning in to our first episode of Simply the Worst. Thank you everybody. Connor, take it.
All right. Thank you for coming to the first episode of Simply the Worst. I know it was probably a slog, but keep in mind that it was probably more of a slog for us. We listened to a lot of Imagine Dragons for this